Everyone has 7 clones or copies of themselves. These 7 types of clones are animalistic killer, pitiful weakling, self-indulgent, creative genius, dumb idiot, kind compassionate, and vicious creature. The reason for this is because during the early formations in the beginning stages of Earth, single-cell organisms were brought here from comets and meteorites, called by scientists panspermia, by artificial insemination. The original seed or germ of life was placed inside of these comets by extraterrestrials called the Neteru to seed life on this planet in the ocean. That's why in the Quran 21 verses 30 it states every living thing was created from water, and artificial insemination and in vitro fertilization would be the technique these alchemists or scientists use to create 7 copies of each person, known as somatic cell nuclear transfer. Now, clones are made by duplicating the genes from any one strand of DNA or one cell in the body. Or you can go into the cell and destroy the nucleus, then inject another nucleus into it. This process is called somatic cell nuclear transfer. That's because inside of the cell's nucleus contains all of the cell's chromosomes and genomes. That's why you've also seen a person that looks like a family member or someone you knew with the same body movement or personality, and when you call out to that person, it wasn't the person you thought it was. That person was either a clone or a duplicate. A duplicate would be when scientists go into the cell and it splits into a daughter cell or 2 cells, which forms another you or 2 of you. It becomes a dub or double unit body, and cloning would be more than 2. Even in the Bible, in Genesis 1 verse 26, when the Elohim said, "Let us make man in our image and after our likeness," is a form of cloning. So if man is in the image and likeness of God, then God was creating gods who would also create more gods in time, which is still a form of cloning or duplication and replication of cells to grow full organisms or human beings. That's why the Luciferians, disguised as doctors, try to keep the placenta, because inside the female's placenta are stem cells they can use to make copies or clones of you through a process called therapeutic cloning. Clones also go as far as back to ancient Egypt and ancient Sumeria. The Anunnaki of ancient Sumeria made 9 copies of themselves by using a method called cryogenics, which is the process used to freeze and store genes and cells or embryos at low freezing temperatures. There are many private cryogenic companies that have successfully frozen people who died so they could be revived in about 50 or 100 years. Mummification is another process the ancient Egyptians used to clone themselves and preserve the body. For example, scientists and archaeologists have opened mummified tombs that was buried for more than 1,000 years and found that these mummified bodies preserve in perfect condition. The only difference compared to the Anunnaki is that the Egyptians didn't use cryogenics or freezing method, because freezing cells and tissues can destroy them, so they used the mummification process instead. And since the body was well preserved, scientists can take cells from the mummies and duplicate them to use for whatever purpose they need.